Good morning, everyone, and get your coffees up and settle in because the gift that keeps on giving has given again.
You mean our favorite American diplomat, Ambassador Pete Hoekstra? Yep, last week he whined about anti-American sentiment and took a swipe at our elbows up rally cry because nothing bothers him more than Canadians pulling together while America turns on MAGA.
And this week he graduated from complaining to threatening. He didn't like the message, so he came for the messenger. Us.
His target? Your ability to get through an airport without tearing your hair out. At a business forum in Banff, he basically said, "Hey Canadians, if you don't visit more, it'd be a real shame if something happened to that handy pre-clearance system."
You cannot make this stuff up. Or as Dave wrote on Substack that you should all subscribe to, he's the arsonist complaining that no one wants to visit his dumpster fire.
And just in case you don't know what pre-clearance is, it means you go through US Customs here in Canada, so you land there as a domestic. Now, it's been around since 1952, and it's the boring miracle that keeps airports moving. For business travelers who hop the border every week, well, it's the difference between a same-day deal and a missed meeting. And it sure looks like MAGA's aiming at that next. Stick around, because we're talking Banff bravado, border booth blow-up, and the boneheaded bid to bin pre-clearance and back up both borders.
Well done, Dave. Okay, we're going to set the scene. Picture it. Gorgeous Banff. An ambassador on stage. Should be a wonderful event.
Now focus, Deb. He wraps the threat in MBA speak. If you have a business segment that's down 20 to 25%, you have to take a look at it.
Business segment? That's us. Canadian air travel to the US is down because, surprise, people don't feel welcome.
Any sane business asks why customers are leaving and fixes the problem. But not Trump's government. They're bound and determined to burn it all down. Listen, you don't threaten the one thing that makes the trip smoother.
That's like your neighbor wondering where you've been all these weeks after he borrowed your mower, carved freeloader into the grass, and gave it back bone dry.
Thankfully, moderator Colin Robertson, a former Canadian diplomat, called him out. He said, "I don't appreciate being threatened, and I don't think any Canadian does."
Well said, and the room applauded. Hoekstra then backpedaled, and he said, "Don't put words in my mouth."
That's just a classic MAGA say, right? Say the quiet part out loud and then deny that they ever said it. Dude, we all heard what you said. It's on tape.
Oh, the glorious irony. First, it's Canada doesn't matter and we don't need anything from you. Then, when Canadians travel less, it's, oh, numbers are fine, stop being so dramatic. Now, he's mad that we aren't visiting. Which one is it? Let's recap why we might be staying home.
How about we start where it all began, with the 51st state? If you're floating annexation, maybe we don't want to rush to book a long weekend in your country.
And let's not forget the political chaos. If all of this were happening in Guatemala, there'd be a huge travel warning. In the US, it's Tuesday. Mass shootings, the rolling street protests, assassinations. Seriously, why would anyone want to go there? And yes, I'm talking to you, snowbirds. Have you ever looked into Mexico, Costa Rica, Panama, Belize? They're beautiful, welcoming, and you don't have a dude carrying a sidearm at a Cracker Barrel. Come on, people.
Add the fact that crossing the border is an absolute crapshoot. Agents can look at your public posts, ask about your thoughts on Trump, and device searches are definitely happening. If your crime is making fun of Trump's hair or saying that you don't agree with him, congratulations, you just made the watch list. When Welcome to America is hand over your phone and a pop quiz on my opinions, well, I'm heading to PEI, not TSA.
And crossing the border isn't just stressful, it's dangerous. ICE isn't acting like an agency, it's acting like a sledgehammer. People are being jailed over paperwork slip-ups, deported to countries they've never lived in, and yes, Canadians have ended up in detention. One has died in ICE custody, and even kids have been locked up.
One ugly crossing cancels a vacation, but a few thousand cancels a season. Canadians and the rest of the world are instead choosing Canada, Mexico, Europe, Southeast Asia, Australia, and places that don't treat you like a tenant who's late with the rent.
And if you want more ideas for travel, you can check out our travel channel, The Planet D Travel. We've split the channel so that this is all politics And that's all travel. If you got a place you want to go, let us know. And make sure to subscribe.
Oh, and let's not forget that viral clip of an alleged U.S. border officer yelling at the Canadian driver, "Never come to the U.S. again." That is how some Americans are feeling on the Trump side of the aisle. Crazy.
And if a border guard is acting that way when he's not on duty, imagine the power grab he has when he is working. I wouldn't want to see that guy when I'm crossing the border.
Meanwhile, when we see U.S. plates up here, we wave and welcome. When an Ontario plate pops up in Buffalo, well, Canadians worry that they're walking into a culture war crossfire, not a weekend getaway.
So the ambassador's solution is to threaten pre-clearance, the one thing that makes travel smoother for both sides. That's not policy, everyone. That's a meltdown in pinstripes. And spare us the "it's just business" line.
When you say reassess pre-clearance, travelers here, practice your patience and get to the airport early. That 3-hour queue has just doubled.
So let's move on to something that's a new segment for us, the Ambassador's Translator, because I needed a little bit of help deciphering the ambassador's veiled threats. So Dave, he's going to translate for us. You ready?
Ready.
Okay. First one, he said, was, he takes great offense when Canada calls his president uninformed.
Translation? Please stop noticing things out loud. It's inconvenient for my narrative.
Next, he said, a bigger than Kuzma deal is not going to happen right now.
Translation? We like holding a review over your head like a guillotine. Leverage feels nice.
That's clear now. He also said they might take a look at pre-clearance because numbers are down.
Translation? We'll make your life harder until you do what we want. This isn't chat, it's a warning.
Well, what about that supposed northern security surge? That was very vague.
It really was. And this one actually needs some facts. First, when they say surge, they're lumping in two things: terrorists from Canada and fentanyl from Canada. Let's start with the fentanyl. We all know that public data shows the overwhelming share of fentanyl seizures happened at southwest ports of entry, not from Canada. If they think 50 pounds is a lot, maybe they should focus on the southern border where 26,000 pounds of fentanyl were seized. And the people caught smuggling at those ports are mostly often U.S. citizens, not Mexican. It looks like a staging for a policy excuse to me.
Also, very quick reminder, U.S. officers control U.S. entry at land crossings and at Canadian airports via pre-clearance. If they claim a screening problem, that's their border agents doing the screenings, not ours. Fix your process before you blame our passports, dude.
So, when you hear Northern Surge, read it as we need cover for tariffs and slowdowns. Calling it an emergency is an easy way to sidestep policy.
So true, and we're feeling the brunt of it. Now, this Hoekstra, he's not a diplomat. He was already kicked out of the Netherlands. I don't know if you know this, but during the first Trump presidency, he was their ambassador. Sorry you had to deal with him, everyone. But good for them, they already humiliated him on TV, calling out his lies. Unfortunately, Canada got stuck with him. This is all choreography, gaslighting, threatening. And then, when Canada puts their elbows up, he acts shocked.
And you know, we said it once and we'll say it again. Elbows up isn't anti-American, it's pro-Canada. Canadians have always enjoyed great relations with our American friends. Some of our best friends in the world are American, and that's not going to change. However, Canada is not Trump's doormat. We defend our economy and our sovereignty, and that is not going to change.
So, a message to Ambassador Hoekstra. Your job as an ambassador is to build bridges, not threaten to blow them up. And you always say Canadians are anti-American. We're not. We're pro-Canadian. That's the job description of being a Canadian citizen.
And threatening pre-clearance? That's just shooting yourself in the foot. Aviation analysts will tell you, yank it and you snarl travel for everyone. You hammer Canadian and U.S. carriers and clog U.S. arrivals. That's a boomerang, not a bargaining chip, buddy.
I liked how you used clog in this. Little shout out to our Netherlands friends. And to Canadians, please don't take the bait. Your travel choices are sending a message and they're feeling it. This threat reads as desperation, not strength. And a good neighbor is not a doormat.
We can be the best friend the United States ever had and never ever apologize for defending our sovereignty.
Any country would do the same thing. But before we go, we want to hear from you. If you've crossed recently by air or by land, tell us what you saw. Was the agent friendly, hostile, or just business as usual? Because Dave and I aren't going anytime soon, so we need some first-hand accounts.
Just drop the story below with the crossing and what happened. Real experiences beat talking points every single time.
And if you're new here, thanks for showing up. And why not do all the free things to help us out so you actually see the next video? Like, subscribe, click on that bell for notifications. It helps a lot more than you think.
And if you want to go deeper, make sure to subscribe to our Substack. It's free. We go way more in depth into all the points that we include in all of our videos, and we get a little bit sassier as well.
And check out our merch store. A lot of people ask us about our t-shirts. Well, you can get them right in our store. And for those of you who have joined the A-Team, you're keeping the lights on, and the rest of you can join too. We want to thank you so much. You are the backbone of this channel.
And don't forget, share this video with one friend who's planning a trip or with that snowbird in your life who swears it'll be fine. And even send it to your MP and your mayor as well, because politicians move faster when their inbox fills up with real people and real stories. We want Hoekstra out of Canada.
And to Canada, thanks for having our backs and watching every week. And to our American friends, we're here whenever you need us. Democracy is at stake, but if Dave and I have anything to say, it's not going anywhere.
We'll see you next week. And just to stick it to Hoekstra one last time because he's so offended by the phrase, elbows up, Canada.